It's Cage Minds, your host Michael Frankel, back doing our recap for Bellator 65. We had given you 5 predictions on our prediction video, so now it's time to give you the 5 results to those. We started off with what ended up being a Bellator prelim. It was Lyman versus Levon Maynard. We had predicted that Lyman would win this fight with a TKO, seeing as that was how most of Maynard's losses had came from the TKO. The fight starts off, they meet in the center of the ring, Lyman connects, gets on top, some vicious ground and pound, and 13 seconds after the bell rings, the fight is done. Lyman is a winner with a first round TKO. Now we move on to a bantamweight quarterfinal. First fight on the main card it was, Ed Wild West versus Galvao. This fight came down to Ed West using a lot of kicks that didn't really do much damage. Punches were totally ineffective. Galvao pushed forward, landed 2 big overhand rights that dropped his opponent. So he dropped his opponent 2 times, pushed forward, landed the more significant takedowns, and had the better pressure, was in top position, more time on the ground. We had predicted this one to go to a split decision in favor of Galvao, but he supremely performed greatly in this contest, and Galvao gets the unanimous decision victory. We move on to the last of the Season 6 quarterfinals for the bantamweight tournament. It was between Alexis Vila and Nogueira. We had predicted Alexis Vila with his one-shot knockout power, with his better wrestling, to win this fight with the TKO, with the hard strikes. As we go to the action, Nogueira and Vila were dancing around each other, picking at each other a lot throughout this fight. The takedowns played a part, but it was Nogueira, not Vila, that got the more significant takedowns. Neither man really did too much damage. Also, Nogueira started to push forward towards the later of the second 2 rounds, picked up his output of striking, and wins this fight with a unanimous decision. Luis Nogueira moves on to the semifinals. Now we move on to a semifinal fight that was in the featherweight division. Mike Corey versus Daniel Straus. We had picked Daniel Straus to win this. These 2 fighters were mirror images of each other. Thought it was really going to be the left hand and the striking of Daniel Straus that made the difference. And I thought split decision, because the takedowns would be close, that Straus would win this fight. Well, pretty much on the prediction we were nailed it, except for Daniel Straus wins with a unanimous decision. It was that left hand, it was his ability to put combinations together. Daniel Straus advances to the featherweight finals of Season 6 Bellator tournament, and he will now meet Marlon Sandro, with the winner of that meeting up with the winner of the Pat Curran-Patricky Freire fight. All those fights would be amazing. And now we move on to the main event from Bellator 65. It was a title fight for the bantamweight division. The champion, Zach Fun-Size Makovsky, was looking to keep his belt and to keep his 3-fight winning streak intact versus Eduardo Dantas. Eduardo Dantas, a phenom coming out of the Nogueira camp, great jiu-jitsu, great Muay Thai. We had predicted him to win this fight. Again, I was thinking split decision, because Makovsky is just such a tenacious wrestler. I didn't know how this fight would really end up, but I could see it going to the decision. Makovsky was really put at bay by the long legs and the great kicks that Dantas was throwing out. Dantas, early in the second round, had been able to really redden up the rib cage of Makovsky, hitting him with big shots. Makovsky was attempting takedowns, grinding after them, but not really being able to do much once he got the fight to the ground. In the second round, as Dantas pushes forward with a combination, Makovsky doesn't like it, shoots for a takedown. Dantas is able to move to the back position, a wrestling position, and then Makovsky rolls so that he's on his own back with Dantas in side control. Dantas moves into the mount position and is able to secure a head and arm choke, an arm triangle, whichever you like to call it, I think, and gets the submission, putting Zach Makovsky to sleep. In the second round, about a minute and a half left in there, there is a new Bellator bantamweight champion, and he is Eduardo Dantas. For Cage Minds, we were 4 correct, 1 wrong on these picks. If you're watching the show, hit the like button, subscribe to the videos. We're Cage Minds. Hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. Also check out ISNO _network on Twitter. This has been Cage Minds. Uncage the warrior within yourself. Have a good night.